Less than 10 seconds later, the entire mall went dark and all of the screens went black. What's wrong? Everybody wondered. This couldn't be a coincidence, they thought. Had Kevin really done this with just one phone call? Doug and Mason were both stunned when they saw this. They had no idea what was going on. What puzzled them even more was, who did Kevin call? "You think you're the only one with connections in this town?" Doug said as he called the KWTD Corporation. Unfortunately for him, nobody answered his call. Then someone suddenly shouted, "Where did all these roses come from?" Everyone looked up and saw thousands and thousands of rose petals falling from the sky like raindrops. "Look up there!" another person yelled. Everyone was astonished to see an enormous blimp floating above the outdoor mall. There were people tossing roses out of it onto the crowds below. Suddenly, everyone heard loud whistling sounds coming from the east over Lake Michigan. It was a daytime fireworks display. Then the enormous dot matrix sign on the blimp spelled out, "Lily and Kevin forever." Next, 2 women were escorted through the crowd with microphones in their hands. It was Brittany Davis and Charity Boyer. The whole place went wild. What were they doing here? And who are Lily and Kevin? Everyone's eyes were fixed on Kevin and Lily as a woman slipped out of the crowd and handed Kevin a small pink gift box. Kevin took Lily by the hand and said, "You've been through a lot over the past few years. You've had to put up with everyone talking me, and you've put up with all the ridicule. Let's put all that behind us now and think about our future." Then he got down on one knee and held out a ring with a diamond as big as a walnut and said, "I love you, Lily. Will you marry me? Again?" Lily's eyes filled with tears and she covered her mouth to keep from screaming. She was so full of joy. "Say yes!" someone shouted from the crowd. Nobody knew who it was, but everybody joined in, repeating over and over, "Say yes!" When Kevin put the ring on Lily's trembling finger, she was so excited that she hugged him as tightly as she could, not wanting to ever let go. "Do you like my surprise?" Kevin asked. His only regret was that the fireworks would have worked a lot better at night. "I like it. I really like it," Lily replied excitedly. Suddenly, a huge commotion interrupted this touching scene and everyone started to panic. "Everybody, run!" came a scream by the entrance to the mall. Kevin looked over and saw a huge group of men dressed in white holding out large knives as they ran through the crowd. There was a large middle-aged man leading them and he looked like he was ready to kill someone. It was Craig Hill, Nolan Hill's father. After Kevin beat up Nolan, he spent almost a week in the hospital and it looked like he might not pull through. He was still bedridden and his prognosis wasn't great. When he heard about this, Craig was furious. He got his people to find out as much as they could about Kevin and then they all rushed from their home in Detroit to Chicago to get their revenge. "Lily, you and Rachel should get out of here right now," Kevin warned them as he reached into his jacket and pulled out his night dagger. Then he sprinted toward the group of men. Kevin was afraid that they would hurt the innocent people in the crowd. He had to stop these men before things got out of hand. "Kevin," Lily anxiously called out to her husband. "Lily, let's go. If Kevin is running at them, he must know what he's doing. We'll only slow him down if we stay here," Rachel pleaded with her friend. She kept a cool head and struggled to pull Lily toward the exit. "Let's get out of here, then call the police. That's the only way we can save Kevin," Rachel insisted. "So, you're the head of the Hill family?" Kevin asked as he stood in front of them holding the night dagger in his hand. He was sizing up his opponent, who looked a heck of a lot like Nolan Hill, only older. "And you're Kevin?" Craig Hill roared angrily. "It looks like you're here to avenge Nolan?" Kevin inquired. He was doing his best to buy as much time as possible so that more people could get to safety. "You've ruined my son's life. Now I'm going to take your life to even up the score," Craig growled as he waved his knife at Kevin and shouted to the men behind him. As soon as the words left his mouth, they all ran towards Kevin. Kevin was absolutely enraged by this, and he gathered his energy together to face them alone. He was already far more powerful than any of the Hill family's men. The only thing that made the fight equal was that there were so many of them. Kevin grabbed Craig by the wrist and twisted it to the side. The move made his attacker's knife fly out of his hand. Then Kevin gave him a sharp kick to the ribs. As Kevin turned around, he felt at least 4 men approaching him from the rear, slashing with their knives. He managed to avoid all of them, but every time he dealt with one attacker, 2 more seemed to appear. This wasn't going to be an easy victory. Right after Kevin proposed to Lily and asked her to renew their vows, Craig Hill showed up at the outdoor mall with a large group of armed men, intent on getting revenge on Kevin for putting his son Nolan into the hospital. Kevin pulled the night dagger out of his jacket to defend himself against the overwhelming numbers. Although he was more powerful than any of Hill's men, he lacked combat experience. In less than 10 minutes, Kevin felt exhausted. As Hill struggled to get up from the ground, his eyes were burning with anger. "He's running out of strength," he shouted to his men. Just then, Kevin felt an agonizing pain in his back. One of the men had snuck up behind him and stabbed him. Blood immediately spurted out of his mouth and a large red stain spread across the back of his shirt. "Kevin!" Lily screamed in horror. When Kevin heard Lily shout, he was distracted and turned to look at her. Hill seized the opportunity and raised his knife to finish him off. Kevin's eyes grew wide as he saw Lily pull him back and use her body to block the knife for him. "Lily!" Kevin shrieked in terror. Blood started to flow from Lily's back. She felt a burning sensation but didn't know how badly she'd been injured. But she didn't regret doing it. In fact, she felt relieved that she'd protected Kevin from the attack. Kevin had done so many things for her. This time she'd found a way to do something for him. "Lily, are you all right? Don't worry, I'll get you some help." Kevin reassured her as he took off his blood-stained jacket and used it to put pressure on the wound. "Just hang on, Lily. I'll get you to the hospital," Kevin sobbed. He could barely see through his tears. "Don't cry, Kevin. You don't look as handsome when you're crying," Lily managed to joke. "Stop talking. Let's get to the hospital," Kevin comforted her. She was looking weaker and weaker. "Who said you could leave?" Hill sneered viciously. "You injured my son. Now I'll send you and your wife to hell." Kevin didn't reply to him at all. He put Lily gently on the ground and slowly stood up to face the man. Kevin's eyes were burning, and his night dagger was trembling in his hand. Hill shouted. He was actually very frightened by Kevin's appearance, but he was pretending to be calm. A second later, a dozen of Hill's men rushed at Kevin, all at the same time. Suddenly, the men were stunned, like they were all moving in slow motion and had no control over their own bodies. Kevin moved through them like a blur, slashing all of them in what seemed to be a single lightning-fast movement. The men all dropped to the ground before they even had time to make a sound. The sidewalk around them was stained with blood. Hill tried to advance on Kevin but collapsed to the pavement as if he didn't have any strength left. "That's impossible," Hill stammered in disbelief. How had all of his bodyguards been taken out by Kevin in just seconds? Hill managed to pull himself to his feet. Then he retreated while warning Kevin, "You may have survived this time, but if you have the guts to face me again, just stay in Chicago. You can run, but you can't hide." Kevin tucked his dagger into his belt. He didn't bother to chase after Hill because he needed to get Lily to the emergency room. He bent down and picked her up. Her breathing was shallow and he could feel her heart beating quickly. "You'll be fine, Lily," Kevin anxiously comforted her. "You don't have to hide it from me. I know it's bad," Lily whispered weakly. Her vision was getting blurry as she added, "Kevin, I'm sorry. I haven't had the time to show you how much I love you." "Don't talk, Lily. You've got to hold on. Don't leave me alone," Kevin pleaded. His entire body was trembling as he ran with her in his arms. Lily didn't have the strength to say anything else. She slowly closed her eyes. While Kevin and Lily were fighting for their lives, the entire Williams family was gathered together at their mansion in New York City. There were also some people from the union who were temporarily staying with them as guests. Randall Williams and Renee Silver, the union's director, drank to each other's health as they all sat down to have a formal banquet. Randall smiled as he announced, "This is my first celebration with you since I came out of seclusion. To be honest, I'm very glad to see how well my family's doing." Then Randall paused and looked at Renee before he remarked, "What brings even more honor to our family is that we have distinguished members of the union here as our guests." "You're too kind," Renee replied with a smile. "We're indebted to your family for your generosity. Please accept our thanks." Everyone laughed heartily when they heard this. As far as the union was concerned, the members of the Williams family had always been very polite to them. "Our family has always had a wonderful relationship with the more benevolent organizations like the union. We're honored to see so many of you with us today, and you should know that you're always welcome in our home. There's no need to stay with anyone else when you're in our city," Randall assured them as he raised his glass of wine to toast them. "Let's all drink to the union's continued prosperity." Renee sipped her wine and replied, "I couldn't agree with you more. We're really all one big family, and we have a responsibility to all our members, no matter which organization they belong to. It's in our interest to protect each other from the three evil groups that still threaten all of us." Then she announced, "To that end, we've all collaborated to open a new campus of the School for the Healing Arts in Chicago. It's an opportunity for us to find more talented people to fight against those heinous groups." When they heard her say this, Randall Williams and his family got very uncomfortable and tried not to let it show. After all, the Williams family had just joined one of the evil organizations that Renee Silver was talking about. If she found out that they were members of the Myriads, what would she think? Randall coughed a few times and echoed her sentiments. "Yes, Director Silver is quite right." Of course, Randall didn't really mean what he said, and he definitely wanted to change the subject. After all, too many people were in on the secret, and someone was bound to spill the beans, even if it was by accident. If that happened, everyone would know that the Williams family had aligned themselves with the Myriads. What a disaster that would be. Just then, one of the guests from the union turned to Randall and asked him, "Do you happen to know someone named Kevin Williams?" Randall was obviously surprised at the question. He wondered why she would be bringing this up, especially during a celebratory dinner. The Williams all got very uneasy when they heard this question. Some of them even looked a little sad. "Yes, I do. Why do you ask?" Randall replied cautiously. "I've recently spoke with a young woman in Chicago," the woman explained. "She's one of our most promising junior members. Anyway, she told me that she saw a young man named Kevin Williams who was in possession of a power pill. So I'm wondering if he's related to any of you." When the Williamses heard that, they burst out laughing. Kevin actually got his hands on a power pill? How could a like him have managed that? They all understood that a power pill was the most effective herbal med you could use to start boosting your training. While his family's laughter rang in his ears, Randall put down his wine glass on the table and replied to her in a very grave tone of voice. "Since you just arrived here, there are some things you may not be aware of. First of all, yes, Kevin is indeed related to the Williams family, but he's no longer one of us. He's become something savage, something." "Grandpa Williams is right," Laura interrupted him. "Kevin, that betrayed us all. He colluded with outsiders to misappropriate our family's funds. We threw him out of the family, and now he's living off his wife's fortune. Some time ago, he even ruined his cousin's wedding. Then he brought people with him to attack us right here in our own house. He even went so far as to insult his relatives and then fight with Grandpa Williams." "I agree with Laura," one of her cousins chimed in. How could a loser like Kevin have picked up something as valuable as a power pill? Are you sure your source isn't mistaken? Another one asked. The other comments were even worse, and the room was soon filled with angry accusations from all of the members of the family. The woman frowned when she heard all of them saying such horrible things about Kevin. This was the exact opposite of what Officer Emmett had told her. When she spoke with her on the phone, Officer Emmett showed nothing but admiration for Kevin, as if he were some kind of genius who inspired great loyalty in people. Randall cleared his throat a few times, signaling to his family that it was time to calm down. He really didn't like airing their dirty laundry in public, especially where Kevin was concerned. "Did you hear everything the Williamses said about Kevin?" Renee asked her. "You should remind your friend to stay away from someone like that. We're good people and we try to bring justice wherever we go. I've already told Randall that if I meet this man, I'll do away with him right then and there." "I'll definitely keep your advice in mind," she promised. But she looked a little puzzled since she'd heard two very different descriptions of Kevin. The next day, the students returned to classes at the School for the Healing Arts. Professor Murdoch walked into the classroom with an incredibly somber look on her face. For one thing, she couldn't figure out what had been wrong with her for the past few days. After she took the pill that Mike gave her, she started to feel weaker every day. Today was the 4th day and Professor Murdoch was losing focus, and physically she felt like she was just dragging. She thought about Kevin and started to feel impatient. At the Whistler Hotel, Kevin had tried to dissuade her from taking Mike's pill, but she hadn't listened. It was starting to look like she should have taken his advice. So now her only hope was that Kevin really had a way to solve her problem. But when she entered the classroom, Professor Murdoch was disappointed. Dalton Steele was back from the hospital, but where was Kevin? "Dalton, why didn't Kevin come to class?" Professor Murdoch asked him sternly. "I don't know, Professor," Dalton replied honestly. He'd just been released from the hospital the day before and hadn't been in touch with his friend. Suddenly, Mike stood up from his chair and announced, "I know where he is." Mike had been looking for a chance to get back at Kevin ever since he'd stepped on him. "How do you know that?" Professor Murdoch frowned. "It's simple. Kevin donated millions of dollars without his wife's permission. Now he's probably at home begging for her to forgive him," Mike said with a laugh. The students burst into laughter at the image. "What the hell is wrong with this guy? Does he want a beating?" Dalton thought to himself as his temper flared. He picked up one of his books and threw it at Mike. "Hey, Dalton, I wasn't talking about you," Mike complained. Even though the book had hit him hard, he didn't show a trace of anger. He took the book back to Dalton and put it down gently on his desk. Mike had asked around to learn as much as he could about his classmates. When he found out what kind of person Dalton was, he decided it was in his best interest not to get on his bad side. "Never mind," Professor Murdoch said with a little disappointment. "Okay, it's a self-study period now. You all know what you should be doing." She had thought that Mike might be right, even though what he said sounded like a joke. After all, Kevin had donated a heck of a lot of money. But what would she do if Kevin didn't come to class? If she lost any more of her strength, she'd be right back where she started without any chance of getting it back again. When Professor Murdoch got back to her office, she tried Kevin's number a few times, but she couldn't get through. What she didn't know was that at that very moment, Kevin was at Downtown General. He was pacing anxiously in the waiting area outside the operating room. Lily had been in there for hours. The hospital had flown Dr. Willow in from New York the night before to perform the surgery, but Kevin hadn't heard any news yet. "You've got to hold on, Lily," Kevin said to himself desperately. He was filled with a lot of regret as he paced back and forth. "It hasn't been easy for us. Just when we were finally going to be happy together, I might lose you. Just hold on." Kevin kept thinking about her and mumbling to himself. He didn't care what anybody thought when they saw him like this. All he cared about was Lily. Suddenly, Dr. Willow walked out of the operating room and took off her mask. She looked exhausted. "How's my wife?" Kevin nervously asked her as he put his hand on her shoulder. "Don't worry, Kevin. Lily's fine now and she's been sent to recovery. It was a difficult operation because the knife wound was very close to her heart, Dr. Willow explained as she forced a smile to comfort him. Then she added a warning. You have to be very careful with her from now on. After Lily had been stabbed by Craig Hill, Kevin rushed her to the emergency room at Downtown General. The hospital arranged to have Dr. Willow flown in to operate on her. The surgery took hours, but she was finally sent to recovery. Dr. Willow came into the waiting room to tell Kevin the good news. He excitedly hugged her when he heard that his wife would be okay. Thank you, doctor. We owe it all to you. She was caught off guard and blushed a little as she asked him, Kevin, do you think you can let go of me? Kevin immediately stopped hugging her and felt a little embarrassed. Please don't take it the wrong way. I'm just so excited. I understand completely, but you really don't have to thank me. I'm a doctor. This is what I do, Dr. Willow explained quietly. Seeing how shy Dr. Willow could be made Kevin smile a little. Lily should be out of recovery soon, and then they'll take her up to her room, Dr. Willow went on. If there's nothing else, I need to go to my office and rest a little. It's been a long night. Part of the arrangement for her transfer to New York was that she got to keep her office at Downtown General. Kevin went to the nursing station to find out which room Lily had been moved to. When he got there, he could see that she still looked weak. She needed a lot of blood when she got to the ER, but Lily was still alive, and that definitely lifted Kevin's spirits. Just then, Kevin's phone vibrated a few times. He pulled it out and saw that he'd missed 6 calls. One was from Dalton, and the rest were from Professor Murdoch. Kevin knew right away that it was because of the neutralization pill. Before he had a chance to reply, he heard a weak voice call his name. Kevin. Lily had already woken up from the anesthesia and was staring at him with her big eyes. He put his phone away and walked over to her bed. How do you feel, honey? Kevin asked with concern as he held Lily's hand. It hurts, Lily complained. Of course it hurts. Do you know how much blood you lost? Kevin scolded her. How could you do such a foolish thing? That knife was meant for me. You shouldn't even be here. Because I'm your wife. How could I stand there and do nothing? Lily said slowly. Besides, the whole mess with the Hill family was my fault. If it wasn't for me. Okay. But now the most important thing you have to do is recover and to get home. Let's leave all of that in the past, he told her casually. Just then, the door opened and Dorothy walked in with some of her friends. She hurried over to the bed, pushing Kevin out of the way as she passed him. Lily, how are you? She asked with concern. Dorothy had stayed up all night playing cards with her friends and only found out about an hour ago that something had happened to her daughter. Don't worry, Mom. I'm fine, Lily answered weakly. Dorothy nodded and turned around to glare at Kevin. How did something like this happen to my precious daughter? What do you have to say for yourself? Mom, I'm sorry. It's all my fault that I didn't... Kevin started to explain. I don't care if you feel sorry. If this is in any way your fault, I'll have you thrown out of the hospital immediately, Dorothy scolded him. This time, Kevin felt like he deserved to be yelled at. It was his fault that Lily had gotten injured, and he was feeling incredibly guilty as he pleaded with Dorothy. Mom, don't be angry. I promise that... Don't call me Mom, she interrupted. I wish Lily had never met you. Whether this is your fault or not, I want you out of here. She paused for a moment and then added, Wait. As soon as Lily can get out of bed, I want the two of you to get a divorce. I don't ever want to see your face again. Mom, please calm down, Lily begged her mother. It's not Kevin's fault at all. While she spoke, she kept glancing over at Kevin. She really wanted to smooth things over with her mother. I'm just going to step out and find out what meds Lily needs, Kevin told her. He decided it would be a good idea to leave the room for a few minutes. Lily looked at Dorothy and her friends. Mom, were you out playing cards again? Don't be silly, Lily. My friends and I were just strolling around. Dorothy had no problem lying to her daughter, but one of her friends wouldn't let her. Dorothy, you shouldn't lie to your daughter like that, Jasmine Coleman corrected her loudly. And so what if we were playing cards? Are you trying to get out of your debt? When she said that, Dorothy immediately gave her a dirty look. A trace of doubt also flashed across Lily's eyes. Get out of your debt? What debt? Mom, don't tell me you owe these women money, Lily asked in confusion. Yes, I do, Dorothy answered hesitantly. The previous night had been Dorothy's unluckiest night in a while. She didn't just drop a couple thousand, she lost over $500,000 in a single card game. Your mother lost a lot of money last night. She owes me almost $250,000 and she owes my friends here another $400,000, Jasmine revealed to Lily. Then Jasmine coldly informed Lily, even though you're in the hospital, you still have to pay your debts, so hurry up and give us our money. We need to head home and get some rest. When Lily heard this, she was so angry that her sutures almost popped out. How could Dorothy lose so much money in just one night? What was wrong with her family? Mom, didn't you promise me you wouldn't go out and play cards? Lily snapped at her mother. I was feeling lucky. Anyway, it's just a few $100,000, Dorothy sputtered. But she knew deep down that what she had done was wrong. Lily was furious. How could her mother have done this when she knew that things were tight? And how could Lily find that much money in such a short time? Mom, did you forget I already promised that money to Grandma? Lily asked her as she tried to catch her breath. I only have $1,500 in my checking account, and we need it for our living expenses and taxes. Oh, I completely forgot, Dorothy suddenly realized. I don't care what kind of problems your family has. If you don't pay me what you owe me right now, you'll see what happens, Jasmine threatened. She realized that Dorothy wasn't as strong as she seemed and she could easily bully her. Let's talk it over, Jasmine. Just give me a few days and I'll get you the money, Dorothy promised as she laughed nervously. No, I need to see the money today. I don't want you to play any tricks on us, Jasmine said coldly. And if your daughter doesn't have it, you'll have to ask your son-in-law. Dorothy, why didn't you tell us you didn't have any money? Why did you waste our time making us play cards all night? You need to pay us what you owe, Jasmine sneered. And don't ever play with us again. Hey, I just remembered something. Dorothy, isn't your son-in-law that guy everybody's been talking about? He must have put away a few bucks living off of your family for the past few years, Jasmine suggested mockingly. Dorothy flinched when she heard her mention Kevin. I'll ask you one last time, are you going to pay us or not? Jasmine snarled. Just give me a few days. I'll pay you back as soon as I can. Besides, whenever you owed me money in the past, I didn't force you to pay me back like you're doing today, Dorothy implored her. How can you even compare yourself with me? My husband is in the real estate business. No matter how much money I lose, I can take care of it with a phone call. You're out of your league, Jasmine retorted as she started to lose her patience. I'll give you two choices. Either you pay me back immediately, or I'll call someone who will make you do it.
Please subscribe to the Pocket FM YouTube channel and press the bell icon for instant notification. Check out our channel for more such exciting shows.